Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. I am coming on live. These are going to now be a weekly event, actually, because I have so many people that I want to share with you and want to talk to. Yay! We've got Fiona Luca coming. I'm going to run a few extras. So next week, we're actually going to have three. But generally they're going to be we're going to have one a week, but today right now I'm going to welcome our gorgeous Fiona Luca. Hello, beautiful. Hopefully this is working. Yeah. Yay. How are you?
Always happy when this works.
I know it's always like takes a second, and right, of course my iPhone, I was like texting at the same time, my phone ran out of battery, but luckily I have, because fancy, have two iPhones. So I use my sort of spare one, but I had to quickly like load Instagram onto it again because I deleted it all. It's for my music and for my meditation. So I deleted all the apps so that I couldn't scroll at night. But now I've put Instagram back. So just so I could talk to you.
Ah, how are you, lovely?
I'm good. I saw you dancing around before. I was like, I got me in the mood too.
I felt the need to have a boogie today, and it felt good. It felt good. I'm still riding the wave. Hey, Lisa.
Lovely people joining us. So yes, so you welcomed me onto your Instagram live, and I just loved our chat so much that I wanted to have you here. But first and foremost, can you tell us who you are and a little bit about yourself? And yeah, let's start there.
Mm. So my name is Fiona Luca. I am the director of Move with Fiona Luca. And who am I? I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am a sister. I am all of those wonderful things. I'm very committed to conscious parenting. I spend a lot of my time reading resources and ensuring that I am the most empowered parent I can be to ensure that I can then go and empower my children. So that's something I'm super passionate about. I am a coach and a mentor both for women and for young people, and I have an innate desire and I think a bit ability as well, just to kind of allow people to access a side of themselves that they would normally not be able to access. So I like to hold the mirror back up at people and remind them how incredible they are and what their essence is, and allow them to step into that power. I've been in the performing arts industry my entire life, hence the dancing. So I've danced my way through my life. And I also am a yoga and Pilates coach as well. So I love all things movement and all things mind.
I love it. Yes, and you taught me this wonderful thing, legs on the wall,
Mm.
and I did it the other night. I sort of got out of the habit and got back into it, and then so I got into bed and I was like, oh, it's too late to put my legs on the wall, but I like pulled my legs up into my chest and put my legs in the air, and I was like, that's still good. Still felt good. Sink into the bed and
Yes. Yeah, so good for the nervous system.
wall. I can't remember what the thing the system was that you talked about, but why legs on the wall?
So legs on the wall, otherwise known as Viparati Karani, which is a yoga term, so the Sanskrit for it. It's really incredible thing to do at night prior to bed because it connects with the nervous system, so it allows us to access the parasympathetic nervous system. And when the legs are up, what it essentially does is it drains all of the blood circulation back to the heart. So it re-energizes and repumps the heart with fresh blood, so that cardiovascularly you're working really, really well. And then all of the vital organs get all fresh blood supply so that you close your eyes, go to bed, and they work really optimally. So that's the reason why we go legs up wall. And it feels ace. It feels ace to drop all of your weight down into your hips and feel really grounded from kind of your sacrum, which is where the root of us, which is the root chakra. So it's got loads of benefits. Yeah.
Oh, I love it, and it just helps me to breathe deeply and just clear out whatever's going on. And yeah, legs on the wall. It was our new little phrase, and I'll have to
Mm.
agree with a couple of other ladies because it was a goodie. Hey, I'm just going to, before we keep going further, I just want to make an acknowledgement. I'm going to read it because I like to do it properly. So we are doing a online recording, but I am based here in the Gold Coast, Australia, and I acknowledge the Yugambeh people as the traditional owners of this land. We recognise the connection to land, waters, and culture, and I pay respects to the elders past, present, and emerging.
Mm. Beautiful.
So I wanted to thank Lisa for saying that you had joined in before. Hello to, we've got Paul, we've got Steph, and I wanted to have you here because we were talking on Instagram Live, which it's in your feed, and I'll share it again to the story today after this one so that we can see that as well. But we started to talk about, well, we were talking about personal branding because that's where I focus. But we got onto the topic of like identity and mother, and you talked before about conscious parenting, which you told me about the book actually, and it's the same color. So that's funny. Conscious parenting book is fantastic. It's so awesome. It's, you know, acknowledging your story and acknowledging what you've been through, and recognizing where that comes up, and just being aware. I wanted to come and talk to you about that identity sort of piece, and I know that you've been on your own journey as well. So coming into this place of where you're working this business that is so much more aligned with who you are and all the aspects of you. But can you tell us, so how have you come from this dancing background and dancing business into where you are today?
It's a beautiful question. So identity is so huge, and ironically, I've literally just jumped off a call with a beautiful mother who has a young person that I'm about to engage and mentor, and we spoke the entire conversation about how our young people have access to years and years and years of education, learning all of this resource, right? But never do we spend as much time allowing them, or even us from our experience, opportunities to access ourselves, to learn about ourselves. What lights us up? What do we care about? What's meaningful to us? And these are all questions that we're not necessarily asked as young people unless you're a conscious parent, and then we kind of spit out at the end, and then suddenly you're in our 20s and are navigating a career but not really having an identity to attach. And I use that example because I can relate wholeheartedly. I have always been in the performing arts industry, dancing, you know, since the ripe old age of 3 years old, and for me, that was my foreseeable future. And I created a future from it. And that was kind of to the discourage of my parents. I come from a very academic background. My older sister's a lawyer, my younger sister's a social worker, and I was the creative. We're all creatives, but I was the one that accessed my creative. Parents just couldn't understand. I was so intellectual and studious. Why would I go down this creative pathway? And I was a little defiant, and I did. And it was an amazing journey. But what happened was I kind of lost myself in this. I was a dancer, and then I was a studio owner, and then suddenly I was the director of this studio, and 11 years passed, and I got married and had a child and all that sort of stuff. And I remember there was a really poignant moment where I had to ask myself the why question. You know, it comes up in Emma's book, in The New Hustle, you know, why am I doing this? And I was like, I'm bogged down with marketing and budget and 11 staff and a community of 350 wide who I cherished and adored hugely. But the actual dance component had kind of got piffed out the window. I was consumed by this business, and suddenly my why had gone. And then as I started to evolve the answer of why, I had to question, well, why do I choose this? What do I choose? What's important to me? What's meaningful to me? Lo and behold, I chose to sell that business. And then I had a bit of an identity crisis. I genuinely had an identity crisis because I was always Fiona Luca, director of Infinite Dance Studios, for 11 and a half years. And suddenly I was Fiona Luca. And what did that mean? Who was Fiona sans that business, you know? And that's when I started to really dig deep and do all of the soul searching and access kind of me. And me looked different as a 36 or 37-year-old or 36-year-old compared to the 25-year-old that opened the business, you know? And now I'm so passionate about working with women, particularly business owners, and encouraging them that how they feel about themselves, what's meaningful to them, what's important to them, has to continue to translate in their lives, business and personal, because that's essentially the essence of who they are. That's what makes them unique and special and identifies them differently to that person next to them that might potentially be doing the same business. Do you get what I mean? So the identity is so huge, and this is obviously aligned with everything that you talk about, because that's what you do. You remind business owners who they are so that they can then flourish through in their branding. And I remind who you are as a human being so that they can then flourish through in the way that you do life. Because We probably don't have enough conscious awareness around the way that we wake up in the morning, and 95% of our daily actions are habitual, right? We just do
Yeah.
it we do it the same because that's what is embedded in our subconscious. And so when you start to be a bit more bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and build that self-awareness, you start to access the parts of you that are really working. And you also access humbly the parts of you that maybe no longer serve you or are no longer aligned with the values of the person you choose to be today. And that's empowerment. That is when you're in choice. And that is what I'm super passionate about.
I love it. And it's like that whole like you get to drive the day, don't let the day drive you, like setting that intention and being like, well, this is how I'm going to show up today. This is what, you know. And it came up, I just had a group call with my lovely Live and Lovely brand group, and it was like this you know, sort of saying, well, if I can, and if I, you know, and it's like, you know what, we get to, and I had a reminder of it today as well. It was like, oh, well, I've got to be realistic. I've got to have the reality. And it's like, yeah, but we're talking about the future. We're talking about something that hasn't happened. We are fully in control of that. We get to decide what happens. We get to decide how we get to show up. We get to daydream and vision and plan and manifest and put it out there. So why are we putting limitations on ourselves before the day's even begun, or before the year is even begun, before the future's even here? Oh, well, I can't do that, or I can only do this, or whatever. And it's nice to, you know, we do. There are certain things that we have in our lives that, you know, I live here right now. Okay, I have a child. You know, I have only 24 hours in the day. Okay, but, you know, like, we're sort of putting these other limitations and trying to be realistic. And that's what I kept saying. I'm like, being realistic. And it's like, no, it's just stopping, and I'm not choosing. And it was like, oh.
And I think that's where that's funny you're saying that, Em, because I think that's where that's the crux of the problem. It's those limiting beliefs, it's those paradigms that have been embedded in us for so long that we can dream and vision and visualize as much as we choose. But if there is not an inherent foundational belief that could one day turn into a reality, or that I am worthy of accessing and achieving and receiving that, then it's science. It's the law of attraction. It won't come to fruition because there is that paradigm it's that terror barrier. You get to that point and it won't let you go any further because it's too scary to go on the side. And that's the work that I do. It's allowing young and people and women to access what are those paradigms? What are those stories? Is that dialogue that plays out constantly in your mind that in fact stops you from accessing what your heart or your soul desires? And that's big, and that's, you know, doing the work, if you like. And a lot of people don't go down that place because it's a scary road, and it's really hearing and seeing what's going on the inside.
It is work, you know. And I was having that thing, I'm like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it for you. Like, when we work together, you're going to do work. I'm doing the work. And like you said earlier, you know, I provide a mirror for my clients, but I needed a mirror too. I need the mirror as well. And sometimes I'm talking to them and I'm like, don't you think I'm looking at you, but I'm also looking at the camera and looking straight at me, because I need to hear this message as well. And sometimes we're too close to it, and you do need that outside somebody to be with you and to ask those questions. Why? What for? Why can't, you know? And I like that. One of my favorite quotes is, don't ask why, but ask why not. You know, why do you think that you can do this, or why can't I do that? Actually, the best thing people do for me is tell me that I can't, because I'll go just to prove you.
Get your back up, and you tell them you absolutely can. Why not question? Because I guess when you take off the first layer of the why not, which is like, because I've never done it before, and then you go down the next layer and it's like, because I'm a bit embarrassed, and that's shame, and then that's fear, and then you start to get down a little lower and you actually get to the root of the problem. And that's where you think, and you're like, that belief dictates way more than just this present moment in time. That belief, fear, or not good enough, or lack of worthiness actually plays out hugely in so many areas of my life.
And you really need support on that, like doing that work. Like, you can journal and you can have that space, and you need all of that, but ultimately having someone else as well, and whether that be that, you know, it's us sharing and teaching and coaching, and then hearing those words go, that somebody else have that challenge and going, actually, it's kind of me too. You know, we do need support with that, and you do need community around, because it's big work, and doing it all on your own, it's hard.
And it's that tribe. It's funny we're saying this because I literally had a coaching call with my coach this morning. We have a coaching call every month, and then once a fortnight we meet collaboratively. And she's incredible, and she's my cheerleader, but she's also the mirror and my biggest accountability partner. She draws me back in constantly. And I said to her, there's no way I would be able to maintain the work that I do and the awareness that I have if I didn't have my own person continuing to make me accountable for the way that I showed up every single day. And we need those people. And I think I have this conversation constantly with people that own businesses, particularly because, you know, Em, you put your heart and soul in it. It is all that you are for so much of your life. And it's like, how can you possibly give and give and give and not in return allow yourself to receive the inspiration or the mirror back at you or the support to keep you going, or to allow you to broaden your perspective and to keep that mindset growing and expanded? Because it's really easy in business to kind of get stuck in a way that's just kind of working because it's working and not really see a different perspective.
Well, it's also as well that you sometimes, like, we're supposed to be leaders. You know, you're supposed to be leading, you're teaching other people things, we're coaches as well, like you're coaching someone, and then it's like, you know, and it's obvious, like you're telling other people they need, you know, you need support, you need coaching. Of course we need it for ourselves, but there is that little bit of like, no, I should have all the answers because I am the leader and I'm the owner and I'm the decision maker, so I should know. But how? Why should we know, and how should we know when we're trying to do it all alone? And I think I was getting to a similar place where, you know, having a meeting with a coach this morning, so probably going to join up. Of like, I want someone, you know, and actually our gorgeous friend Jane, I'll have to find the quote, she shared it, and it was like, if you're getting to feeling uncomfortable and unsure and a bit scared, it's because you're getting, you know, you're leveling up. It's time to level up, so get scared. You know,
Moon too, so it's all about that at the moment. Yeah, it's so true. You got to lean into discomfort and out of comfort in order to level up, in order to grow. And I think there's that's almost like an old school or a foolish interpretation of leadership. You know, I need to know all of the answers. I would always question a leader that says that back to me. Is that coming from a place of ego? Because I guess the ego wants to know all the answers as a leader. But as a leader, all you need to do is be one step in front. That's it. Just one tiny little step above in order to be able to offer something sound. But as leaders, we're learning as much as we're leading as well. I mean, as Brene Brown says, you know, you've got to lead with that place in that space of humbleness and vulnerability.
Yeah. Humility, and it's, you know, admitting, and it's but sometimes it's admitting it to yourself, and you're like, I do need help, I do need support, I need someone on my team. You know, and I don't want to do it alone. I have that on, you know, for my clients too. And it's funny talking about, someone was talking about in one of my next module with my clients, and working through his target market, and it's this ideal client, and it's like, it's funny, but it's probably me. I'm probably my ideal client. Like, the things that I've been through are, you know, it's why I want to help people, because I've been through it, and, you know, I understand that pain, I understand that difficulty, I understand going through that. And like you said, with that identity thing, or identity piece, like, we've had that challenge, and mine more recently, I had it with my work, where I had so many things I'm doing, and so I was trying to identify myself by the things I was doing, as opposed to being who I am, Emma. And I do things, but I'm Emma first and foremost. Like, get to know me. My work is something that I do, and I enjoy it and all that, but it's not who I am. You know, I love travel, and I'm a traveler, but it's not all I am. And people have been so worried about me these last 2 years. Are you okay? Oh, my beautiful traveler Jenny's just joined too. Are you okay? Traveling? And I'm like, I love travel, but I love travel because of the connection, because of seeing my family, because of the experiences that I have. You know, it's not travel for the travel's sake. And so yeah, like I miss it, but it's not, you know, like it's not I don't know who I am anymore because I'm not traveling. It's like actually I have a traveler's mindset, so I can be
Mm.
doing that anywhere. It's part of me. And with more recently, you talk about the conscious parenting, which helped me so much. But you know, becoming a mother like scared the shit out of me. And it was that whole thing of like I just probably more the societal thing. I was just like everyone's just going to view me now as a mum, and
Mm.
I'm put in the mum box. And I remember crying to someone one day and be like, I don't want to just be reading mummy blogs all the time. And they're like,
Mm.
then don't. But it was like I felt like that's what I would have to do, and that's what I would just end up doing. And you know, and all my life would be this. But it's funny, once I did have my son, it's like, oh no, I'm choosing to do some of these things. I choose, you know, I'm going to talk about poo and food all the time. I actually quite enjoy talking about poo. It's quite nice. And you know, it's something that we're interested in. At 8 months, or no, more, a year ago, I wasn't like, don't talk to me about that. But now it's like, that's part of my world and I'm interested in it. And you don't know how you're going to feel about that then. But it scared me. I thought this motherhood would just take over who I was,
Mm.
and I was
Mm.
going to lose who I was, or
Mm.
that's what it was told to me, that you're going to, or that I kind of that you have to like this, that you're a mum now, like, and that's your identity. And I was like, no, like I was like fighting, and it's like that's not what I believe, and it's not what I work with my clients. It's a piece of me, it's a part of me, and it's going to integrate in with me. But I'm Emma, I'm Emma, I'm Emma, I'm Emma. Like treat me as a person.
Mm.
Of course I'm a mother, but it's part of me, not my identity.
I guess it comes down so much to the labels, doesn't it, Em? You know, I love the conversation around labels, and it's a society conditioning. I mean, we're given labels from dot. You know, first thing, is it a boy or a girl? Instantly before the baby even comes out, you know, and then, you know, are they a good eater? Are they a good sleeper? Are they a good listener? Have they rolled yet? Have they walked yet? And instantaneously we start to label what's right and what's wrong. And then that's obviously reinforced in the education system as soon as they go to school. You know, are they a good student? Are they not a good student? Do they deserve to be in that accelerated program or not? And we have this good, this bad, this right, this wrong, and these labels. And we kind of get these labels, we inherit these labels as young people, and we kind of wear them forever, you know. And that, from a conscious parent perspective, I'm really hard on the community that surround my children about labels. Like I pull my mum up on it all the time, and she always says it from a place of love and endearment. But I'm like, you know, she'll go, oh, Leilani, you're so smart. And I'll pull her aside and say, never, ever, ever say that to Leilani again. She's like, but she is. And I was like, she loves school. She applies herself at school. Yes, she's studious and she's, you know, doing the things that the teachers want to see, but she's applying herself. So let's reward the action of applying herself. Or it's so beautiful to see you smile when you do your homework or when you read that book, as opposed to reward the outcome. And when we stop rewarding outcomes, then we stop striving consistently and constantly for those outcomes. Because if we're an outcome orientated person that relies on the outcome to define who we are, to identify who we are, then when you remove all of the outcomes, who are we on the inside? There's not a lot left. And that's, from a conscious parent perspective, that's what I'm really committed to, building my little people up and building all the young people I have access to in dance studios up as little human beings. And then the extra turn or the extra kick or the extra, you know, good mark, then that's just maybe a little cherry on top and allows you to feel feelings of pride, as opposed to a definition of who you are and how good you are. Yeah, it's a big one.
Yeah, it takes work, and it takes
On my
having
team.
and having, you know, like you said, like it's all well and good for you to do it, but having this, oh, thanks so much, Jenny,
Mm-hmm.
having these conversations, and with other people around you, and it's like, you know, it's a bit uncomfortable, and you know, but it needs to be said. And I heard this great one the other day. I shared it with my clients too today, but it was the we used to say, blow out the candles and make a wish, but don't tell anyone because then it won't come true. And I was like, no, that's day that stops in our house. But when we have birthdays and we make wishes, we tell the universe what we want. So you
Mm-hmm.
make a wish, blow out the candles, and then tell us all what you want, and we can dream with you, and we
Mm-hmm.
can and we
Oh,
can see you. And it's like, you know, if he wants a pony, awesome. We wish for a pony, you know, and like maybe you'll manifest and that you go for a pony ride. I don't know, but like say it out loud, and you know, we're too scared to say what we want. And yeah, I thought that was lovely, and it's just there's a change in how we speak and language. I'm so much around language and wanting Finn to grow up around, you know, this different language and these different ways. And I love that that I took that away from the book too, is that yes, not oh wow, I thought my battery died for a sec, it all dark. You know, around rewarding the effort and the trying. I loved the way you said that. It was because it's going to be a shift, and I know that I've said it. It's like, you know, he was learning how to pull down a flap on a book, and I was like, you're so clever. And it's like, oh no, you know, but I also was trying to say, well done, you know, well done learning, like that's so great learning. And you know, look at you enjoying learning, so proud of himself for learning something new. And yeah, I would really love to keep hearing you and having those conversations. And like that book's like one of those, I think it's like, we don't just read that book and you file it away and you go, cool, read the book and done. And it's, I just read yeah, it's like going to be an annual, or like I need it like out on the counter and reading it all the time. The same.
So this yeah, Dr. Shivali's conscious parenting book. Yeah, she's incredible. She's and it is controversial. Like I definitely have had some friends that I've recommended the book to and they disliked it a lot. And I was like, yeah, maybe you're not ready to read that book. So it's very humbling. You most certainly have to own your own stuff. But
well,
yeah.
It's also, it could probably come across as critical of our parents as well. But it's just, this is learning and this is awakening, and it's different, and it's like, it's not that you did it wrong, it's just that I want to take from, you know, and I've had conversations with my parents, it's like, I'm so grateful for everything that I had, but there's some things that I would prefer to not have Finn have because of my experience, you know, even that I know mum and dad had to work, but like we have to have money, but I'm like, I want to work in a way that I get to be around more, or be around at these times or whatever. So that's the choice that I'm making, and that's from my experience. I'm not blaming, I'm not criticizing. It's just, you know, I'm taking that from that experience, and it's like an awareness of, oh, that's how that happened and that's how I felt. And so how can I take that and how can I support it? And he's going to have his own stuff, right? Like the book as well. It's like they're going to have their own stuff. Like no matter what we do, but why can't we try? And I read another one called the book you wish your parents had read. You read that?
Not read it.
Yeah, I think because I've read the conscious parenting, I did already have some awareness around that. So there were some things that I was like, oh, I don't know, but similar vein of you know, looking at what we've experienced, understanding.
I'm going to plug you in.
Yeah, seeing what we want to apply, you know, to our children. I just think like language is so important, how we speak to others, but how we speak to ourselves. And it was something that I talk about. It's like when you're putting out your brand, you're putting out a message, but first and foremost, we need to believe that message. You know, we need to know that message, and we need to know the story, and we need to know who we are before we can share that with others. You know, no one is so confused. The audience is confused. We're confused. I don't know what to say it to you.
So true.
Yeah. So tell me, we're going to wrap up soon, but how do you work with people? How can people work with you?
Beautiful. So at the moment, I'm really committed and dedicated to my On Purpose program. So it's a one-on-one bespoke program for women, and we engage for 3 months and we do 6 one-on-one sessions, and it's an amalgamation of kind of talking conversational support along with yoga and meditation. So there's, you know, resources that you can access online through the program platform where you can do yoga classes and meditation classes dedicated specific to the modules that we focus on. And the actual program really leans itself into building self-awareness, self-love and acceptance, and self-identity. So everything essentially we've spoken about this afternoon. And it is kind of a little leeway into themselves during this program, and I essentially just hold space and direct the conversation in the right direction to ensure that I guess the people that are entrusting me with their support are really seeing themselves for who they are, really starting to acknowledge, as I've said, the parts of their life, the components of their life that are working and serving them, and the components that are not, and start to kind of dig a little deeper and access kind of the self-sabotage language and behaviors, habitual behaviors that are no longer serving them or are in fact impacting the way that they parent, the way that they lead, the success or the outcome of their business, because it's all interrelated. I mean, I am an avid advocate for mind, body, spirit. We're not just our mind, we're not just our body, we're a beautiful holistic being, and all of those elements, that whole triangle needs to be considered in order to access well-being. And, I guess the irony is, especially during this pandemic, is, the hub word's well-being, right? Everyone wants to be well, and well extends far more beyond than just what you eat and how much you sleep and how much you exercise. There's a whole emotional and spiritual side of you that determines how well, how clear, how much clarity, how much perspective, how open you are to the world that you live in. And I'm really intrigued by that. I'm really curious about that. And I invite the beautiful women that I work with to be curious as well.
And it is such a there's still this divide of professional and personal life, and that's such an old way of being, that you would leave your personality at the door, business is over here, personal's over here. But hello, we spend a lot of our time working, and so how can we just shut off this whole part of ourselves when we go, and likewise just shut that off, and this whole idea of balance is this can go in this container, and this can go in this container, and this can go in this container. It's no, it's all integrated and it's all working together. So why are we, shutting out these parts? And that's probably more where I'm at with work. But it's bringing your person and bringing all of you to all of everything and understanding. And there are times we have to, be in one focus, but it's doesn't mean you just cut off and shut off this whole life.
One of a beautiful premise that I learned through my mind body therapy certification, because I'm a mind body therapist as well, is that when you're working with a client, tap in on the experience that you're having. So, obviously don't disengage from them or don't make it about yourself, but just tap in with the physical experience you're having in that moment and notice what's coming up for you. Because chances are, whatever is coming up is the work that you are ready to do and the work that requires your attention. And I find that really interesting, whenever I work with a client, and maybe I do, while I'm sitting there, have a moment of inadequacy or imposter syndrome, or when I'm working with a young person and they say something and I have a direct relational experience with that and I get triggered by it, then I close my screen and I'm like, what happened for me then? And whatever did happen just then, how can I explore this in order to kind of take another layer off or do a little further work on myself? And I think leading or coaching from that space is so empowering, and it just allows you to constantly be in the learner seat as well. So I guess that would be my invitation to anyone that's tuning in or listening. Whenever you are in a direct experience, whether you're coaching or leading or even just a conversation with your child, and you feel a physical reaction, lean into that. That's come up for a reason. That's trying to give you a message or some insight into something that maybe hasn't been resolved or needs a little further investigation. And if we're doing that, then we're staying curious, we're staying open, and we're expanding and growing every single day. So that's the work. You don't have to be crying, rocking in your bathroom, tears dropping, because I think that's the stereotype of what doing the work means, where you fall flat. But it's those little moments of being inquisitive. That's you consistently taking off another layer, exposing a little more of who you are, from the inside out.
Oh, I love that. Oh, so good. Thank you so much, Sherry. And just tell us as well, talking youth. So you're very passionate about the youth space. So
yeah.
there.
So Talking Youth is a youth organisation that I established formally this year. It started off as a podcast last year, and it's a platform for young people to find their voice, to be heard, and to have opportunities and experiences for them to see themselves and to gauge what their essence is, who they are, and then lead from that space. So we've had one live event. We obviously release podcasts every month. I have lives every fortnight with some incredible people that just offer resources and tools that are relatable to their lives. So, for example, tomorrow night I've got Amanda Thompson on from Endurance Financial, and she's going to talk money. She's going to talk to young people about money, what you need to know about your money, what you need to know about MyGov, Centrelink, how to start saving for assets or investment. You know, imagine being 18 and having that tool, you know what I mean? Having a forum where that conversation was so openly spoken about, as opposed to feeling like you have to go to mum and dad, which obviously often has, you know, that relational. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's a really practical resource for young people, and it's in its very much infancy. I do mentor a lot of young people every week. We have an ambassador program. I meet with them once a month and I ask them what their experience of life is and how I or we can support them further. So it's kind of getting the young people to drive what this organization is about, which is really exciting, scary, but really exciting. Yeah.
Oh, it's so you're so passionate about it, and giving those young people a platform. It's so beautiful, and starting that work so early, because you know some of the people I'm working with are much later in life, 50s, 60s, and never have been asked these questions or got to really connect with who they are, and we're unpacking lots and lots and lots of layers and titles and roles, and you know, to have that grounding so early and to be given the space to be just to be. So,
Yeah, so true.
you're such a person, and you're doing such beautiful work, Fiona. Thank you so much for sharing. How can people connect with you apart from here on Instagram?
Oh, wonderful. Thanks, Em. Thanks so much for this opportunity and allowing me to share with your audience. You can find me on my website, www.movewithfiona.com.au. There's all of the resources and information there in regards to my course and how else you can connect with me. And Talking Youth is www.talkingyouth.com.au, and you'll find our Instagram and podcast and all of the above in that website too. So if you are on here and you have a young person in your world that might need to lean in or on a platform that supports young people and empowers young people, then send them to Talking Youth. We love more and more people to join up and see what it's all about. And if you are seeking some support from a coach or a mentor and like to delve a little further into your own self development and personal development, then reach out to me. I would love to support.
I love it, Fee. Thank you for today. And
beautiful.
Keep our conversations going, because I thoroughly
always. Yeah, you're amazing. Thanks, Em. Have a great afternoon. See ya. Bye.